Off the beaded path, your beading starts here. Shop it off the beaded path.
Well, guys, I could not leave the 3D octagon alone after last week's video. So I've come up with another project with that 3D octagon. My name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path beadstore.com. And if you're new here, then make sure to head back to my videos all the way from July of this year, which is 2025, where we started our Shapes of Summer bead along. We started out with the 3D circle. We've done a 3D square, a 3D triangle, an octagon, a hexagon, just all of these fun shapes and projects. And we are winding down. This week was supposed to be the last week, but I just couldn't leave that little octagon alone. I loved playing with that shape. So today, we are going to be working on a brand new pendant. I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be pretty just short and on a chain. I just really am enjoying this a piece. So here's what you've got to do. We are going to put a link somewhere here on the screen and down below in the video description box to my previous video, which was on how to make the 3D octagon. So you need to go ahead and you need to make 2 octagons. One needs to be made exactly by the video in our 3D octagon. Now, the counts on this 3D octagon are 1A, 5B, 1A, and 7B 4 times. Okay, so again, if you have no clue what I'm talking about, go back to that video. So hit one of those links or down below. Once you have this one made, then you're going to make a second one. And the second one is a little bit larger. So the counts for this one are 1A, 7B, 1A, and 9B 4 times. Okay, so you're making 2 squares. Now, I really like, not squares, we're not making squares today, we're making octagons. So I really like making these octagons in 2 colors because it gives it a really fun look. So you'll see here, I've used kind of a gold and then like a coppery gold to really set off that astral pink. And today I'm using kind of a teal and a green because we're going to be using the vitriol medium, because I want to show you this is what it looks like if you just use one color. So that second color really makes it pop. Now, what you'll want to pay attention to is and play around with are your colors in this piece, because in this specific piece, my A's that I used in the gold are my B's that I used on the back side. And then the B's that I used on the front are my A's on the back. In these pieces, I've used specifics A, B, and then I've used a color D because our C's are our 15s. And again, you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to that last video. So that will kind of give you an idea. Play with your colors, have fun with them, because there's a lot of fun things that you can do. Once you get those 2 things, make sure to leave your threads on them because we're going to be working on those. So here's a list of all the materials that you're going to need for this project. Grab those materials, get your 2 octagons made, and then meet me back here so that we can finish out the project. Once you have the smallest octagon complete, now we're ready to actually encase or net our stone in place. So this is a 23 millimeter square octagon is what this is called. It's an octagon shape, but it is squared off like that. So that is why it's called the square octagon. So you will pass your beads or your needle and thread through the beads to exit out of the 15 here on the inner part of our octagon. So you'll see these right here on our row where we added those 15s. Those are the beads we're going to be using in this round. So it's going to depend on which one you're coming out of as to the bead count that you're going to do, because the bead count is going to be different, and I'll explain that. So here where I'm exiting towards what I call a long side of the octagon. So when you exit the long side, you are going to thread on 7 of your C's, which are your 15. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And normally I would say use your A beads or your B beads, I'm sorry. But because my C and my B are the same color, I'm actually going to use the A beads here. So it's completely up to you. So I've got 7 C, then 1 A or B, and then 7 C. With those beads, I'm going to come across here to the next 15 or the C, and I'm going to pass through that bead. Now, when you come to the short side, so if you are exiting to the short side, you're only going to pick up 6 15s or 6 C. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 A or B, and then 6 15s or 6 C's, however you want to look at it. And then we are going to come across to that next 15. So your arches are going to look like they're almost the same height. And that is because of one is a short side and one is a long side. And we have done 2 more here so that the arch looks identical. So what we're going to continue to do is we're going to add our sets of 7 on the long side and our sets with 6 on the short side. So again, I'm on a long side here, so I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 A or B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to come to that next 15 or that next C, and I'm going to pass through that bead. So for now, it's okay that all our little loops are up like this. And so I'm to a short side, so that is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 C. And then an A or a B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to pass through that next 15. Okay, and we're going to do this all the way around, alternating our long and our short side counts. Okay, so at this point, it's going to look like a big loopy mess, and that's okay. We're going to fix it, because what we want to do is once you have passed through that last 15 or last C on the base, you're just going to continue through your first set of C's, and then your A or your B, whatever color you decided to use here for that Delica. On this row, we're only going to be using those little point beads that we have to work with. That's all we're going to be using. So we're going to start out and thread on 6C. And with that 6C, I'm going to come across to the next loop, which is going to be this one here. And I'm going to go through just that middle A or B bead. And if you pull it tight, that's what it's going to look like. Now 6. And do the same thing. We're going to come to that next arch that we've got. And we're going to go through just that middle A or B bead. And we're going to do this all the way around. Now, you don't have to pull it tight. You can leave it loose because we're going to be setting our stone in here and pulling our stone and our thread tight so it'll hold it in place. So once you've gone all the way around, connecting those arches, now comes to me my most favorite part. So you want to line up the short side to the short sides, the long sides to the long sides, and you're going to make sure to kind of get it in there into that encasement. Get it centered, and then pull the thread tight. And man, look how easy that is. That is such an easy encasement. Now, what you want to do is you want to go around through these beads here on this inner loop that you've made. Go through all those beads, pulling it tight so that our stone will stay in place. And then you are going to finish off the working thread on this octagon. So once you have the thread tied off and taken care of, now we are ready to attach it to the second piece. But before I move on, I did want to show you the back of this piece is not covered up, and it has a foil backing. Now, if you have your thing, every single beader has a thing that they do not like doing. And for me, that is covering up the back of the stone. I hate it. It takes forever. I just don't like it. So this is why I added a second layer, because if you add a second layer, it's a lot deeper, and this is not going to touch your skin, your clothes, or anything. If you are the person who loves to cover up the back, you do not mind covering up the back, then please have at it. Finish out the back however you want. But this is how Kelly adds layers so that she doesn't have to do that. So what you want to do is on your large octagon, you want to exit again the same place we did on the smaller one. We're coming out of the C bead, or that size 15 seed bead. And we are going to take and line up the sides. So short sides to short sides, long sides to long sides. And the great thing about this is these are the perfect size so that your 15 on the point and your 15 here on the inside are going to match up. So let's go ahead and let's go in and connect these together. I've zoomed in a little bit more so that you'll be able to see the connection better. You'll notice here I am exiting out of that C and I'm exiting to the left. And I've picked up a C, and so I'm going to pass through the point C right above where, if I lay it down, where it would be touching each other. And I'm going to pass through that point bead going from left to right. And I'm going to leave it loose for now so you can see it there. And now I'm going to pick up another C, and I'm going to pass through the C on the large octagon from right to left so that it makes a little right angle weave connection, a circle connection, however you want to say it. So once you pull that, you'll see there now how that is connected. So we are going to be connecting every point just like we did here. So we want to pass through the beads to come out of the next C, which is going to be this one. And then I will do the connection one more time for you. Okay, so again, my thread is coming out to the left here of the large octagon. I'm going to thread on one C, and I'm going to pass through the C on the small octagon on that point from left to right. Then I'm going to thread on one C, and I'm going to pass through the C on the large octagon again, so that now, once you pull it, that connects that. So you're going to continue to connect each of those points just like you did the two that we just did. Okay, once you have all your points connected, then you're ready to make the bell. Now, I've just made a small bail here for this piece. You can make it wider if you want to, but I wanted to do something kind of small since I'm only going to put this on a chain. So if you'll look on a short side here, you'll notice you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beads kind of in a row here. And so what I'm doing is I'm coming out of the second bead of that row. And I'm going to use that same green so that my bail matches the green that it's coming out of. So I'm going to pick up a green, which is my D, and then I'm going to go straight through the next bead that's on that row. So I'm skipping a little space and putting a bead in. So I'm doing a stitch in the ditch. So I'm going to do one more like that. I'm going to pick up another bead, and then I'm going to skip the space and go through the next bead of that row. Now, I'll tell you, you want to be careful here. I like passing through the beads with a size 10 needle because it makes my life a little bit easier. But the issue that you have, especially with this green, it is a transparent finish on it. So with this bead, what happens is it busts very easily because of that transparent finish. So you have to be very careful. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to switch to a size 12 needle, but I picked up a bead and I'm going to go through that next bead of that row. So I'll have 2 beads there stitched in the ditch. Okay, so I got through the beads. So now you'll see there you have 2 beads. So we're going to work in the other direction. I am picking up another bead and I'm going to come back through the bead that I just added. I'm going to thread on 1 bead and come through that next bead sticking up, which was my first stitch in the ditch. And then I'm going to pick up another bead. Now, I'm going to wiggle under the thread here that is going to connect the very next bead there and then the one right next to it. So you see I've kind of wiggled under that thread so that now that will put my new bead in place without having to pass through any of the beads there on the base. So I go through that bead and now I'm ready to continue. So I'm going to peyote across. So 1 and 2. Just like that. And now I'm going to work back in this direction. 1 and then I'm going to come through 2 beads here, the single one and the one kind of diagonal to it. And then I'm going to do a figure 8. So I'm going to pick up 1 and go through 2 at a diagonal. And sorry about that, guys. And then I'm going to come back through 3 at a diagonal there. And then through the one I added. So peyote across. Now work back in the other direction. So I'm going to go ahead and show you another way you can do this if you want to. So you don't have to do the figure 8. You can pick up a bead and you'll go under the thread between the 2 end beads there. And then through the bead you just added. So there's 2 different ways that you can do it, but you are going to continue to do this until you reach the length you want, and then you are going to zip that together just like you've zipped your piece. So friends, once you've got that bell zipped up, then you can put this on any sort of chain or beaded necklace that you want to. It is such a beautiful and stunning piece. This one here is the vitriol medium. This is going to pull your beautiful pinks and oranges and greens and blues. My personal favorite of this set is the astral pink. This one is going to pull pinks, yellows, oranges, and golds. And for my people who love to wear black and silver, this right here, the black and nickel or black and palladium, is just gorgeous. And don't stop with thinking I can make it into a pendant, because this would also make an incredible ornament for a tree. So I do have the step-by-step written pattern available on my website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. I also have kits for all 3 of these colorways, or I should say bead packs, that will include all the beads you need to make one of the colors schemes that you choose. We also have the square octagon stones, again, on my website at offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Off the beaded path, your beading starts here. Shop it off the beaded path, beadstore.com. Bring your vision near. Off the beaded